kicked off this thought about transitioning from elevation to elevated. And we start looking at the life of Joseph and his beginning and what he had to experience, just those early years of his life and how God was giving him the vision, giving him the dream. And too often we have those same thoughts in our head and we have put those dreams aside. And we challenge you on last week to dig deep and take these 5 steps and make sure you're doing what you need to do to make sure you didn't put your dreams in the closet because it didn't line up like your today is lining up. Or you couldn't see what God could do with your possibilities, that you start putting your own plans in place. Well, we're going to continue that thought about now that you're elevated, now what? And as we start to look at Joseph and all that he had to go through, Genesis makes it very plain about who Joseph was and what he had to do. But it's not just Joseph. It's us when we understand who God is in our life. That we have to look and focus on him. In these next couple of verses in Joseph, there's another challenge. Matter of fact, I might have to spend some time this week and actually do a discipleship paper on this so y'all can have it and walk around. So y'all make sure that Sister Chandler has y'all email. I might email y'all out some stuff from last week and some stuff for this week. I know. Wednesday night Bible study got y'all hands full, but I just want to give y'all something because this is a very deep topic about what we are as in our Christian walk in 2025. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and so I want you to kind of hit this a little hard. And so, I gave y'all 5 things last week. I'm gonna give y'all 5 things this week. So I don't want y'all to forget about the last 5 things, or maybe the next 5 things. I want you guys to kind of have this in your hand. And so we'll put something together this week and get it out to you guys. If your email is up to date, we will try. I'm gonna say this word again. Try, as long as life don't start lifing, get that in your hands this week so that you have a guide, a study guide to walk through these things that God has given us through this study of Joseph's life. This morning, I want to get your mind on something. What happens when elevation feels like rejection? What happens when you're elevated and it does not feel comfortable? It feels confusing in your elevation. That you thought your dream turned to a nightmare and you don't know what to do. Well, let's pull the sheets back and look deep into what's going on here in Joseph's life. And maybe after the day we can have some experiences or some thoughts on what happened when it feels like elevation is not what you signed up for. Amen? Man, y'all got quiet on me. That's why I want to pull y'all dreams out the closet because you misinterpreted your right now. Okay. If you have your Bibles, Genesis, still in 37, Genesis the 37th chapter, verses 12 through 28. Genesis, the 37th chapter, verses 12 through 28. And so we're going to be in Genesis for a while, so you might as well just go ahead and bookmark that and have that ready each Sunday. Genesis 37:12 reads this way. And his brethren went to feed the father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brothers feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brothers, and well with the flock, and bring me word again. So he sent out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed the flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Y'all just say, right there. Here you come with your little thoughts and your plans. And coming therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will slay. We will say, Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into the pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of the hands, to deliver him to his father again. See, Reuben had an alternative plan for the dreamer. And it came to pass, when Joseph was coming to his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread. Man, they do you wrong and go eat after they do you wrong. And they lift up their eyes and look, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead, with their camels bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother, try to make a dime off of your misery, and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Israelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother in our flesh. And his brothers were content. Then they passed by the Midianites and merchants, and they drew and lifted Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Israelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Man, that was a lot to gather in. And we see how frustrating elevation can be. Now, God told Joseph in several dreams that he would be lifted up, and his brothers, his father, and his mother, will worship, will look up to him as he's lifted up. Elevation. Pinpoint to be elevated. And Joseph responds, told you last week how he responded. He was telling everybody that this is what's going to happen. And his brother they go out, and the father sends him away. Now, Joseph is the youngest of the group. He stays back with his dad, while the older brothers go out and go a long distance away to make sure the flock got good grass. All of a sudden, Israel asks Joseph to take a journey by himself that he wasn't old enough to take with his brothers. You got to watch this. God can send us on a journey that looks very risky. Are we obedient to go down the path that God has asked us to go down? That's the first thing we got to realize. Are we obedient? Or are we afraid of the risk? be obedient to what God has shown us and told us. And we got to be in a position where we know God is with us. Maybe y'all don't like this. I got to figure stuff out. It got to match up on paper. I got to calculate it out. I got to measure it twice. I got to do all of this stuff before I go. I'm measuring the risk rather than being obedient. And at some time, you guys throw away your Excel spreadsheet, close up your calculator, and say, God said. Now, Joseph did not question his dad. Now, I'm not old enough to go with my brothers, but you're going to see me by myself? But God already showed him, this is your dream. You're going to be, you're already elevated. All you got to do is walk into your season. But we got to be obedient because the seasons don't always look like easy roads. But Joseph does this. He takes a journey by himself to a place that he wasn't, again, that's difficult. God never said that this journey would be easy. But he did say, I'll go with you. And because he's going with you, stop looking at the consequences and be obedient to what he's saying to you. See, a lot of times we can't walk in our elevation because as we've been elevated, it's too risky for us to expose ourselves. And when we don't expose ourselves, we're not being obedient to what God is asking us to do. We have to walk in obedience when it's inconvenient to do so. Wow. When we can't make nothing off of it, we got to be willing to walk where God wants us to walk. And not only that, sometimes the hardest steps are the ones that seem the furthest away. Let me say it again. Sometimes the hardest steps seems impossible. But we got to realize we serve a God who makes the impossible possible. So I challenge you, be obedient, forget the risk. That sounds so dangerous. Can we tell our kids, Christian, no risk with you, you do. As you get older, you got to be able to know that what God is saying is a difference than what we can see. Walk by faith, not by sight. But watch this though. In the midst of all of that, he goes. And before he gets there, because he got the coat of many colors on, here come that dreamer. Here come Rose with all her fancy ideas. I don't know why she got. No, not folk. Do you? Oh, here he come. He got no. We gotta walk what God tells us to walk. That's the obedience part. But watch this though. As they start to conspire against him, it's easy to feel like this can't be possible because it feels as if God wanted me to have it, it'll be easy for me to get. That's what he mixed up. Watch what happened to him. He's walking, finds his brother, take him all this time to find his brother. They see him coming, and they put him in a pit. What I like about this, God tells us, even in the pit, watch this. You may be separated but not abandoned. You may be separated but you're not abandoned. Why I say it? Because he was being separated from what his dream was saying. But even though he was being separated, because now he's been put in a pit. How I'm going to get, ain't no water in here, Luther, ain't no bread in here. How in the world I'm going to make it out of this? You know, I might as well just give up. Ain't nothing good going to happen with this. But remember, he's separated but not abandoned. See, what I like about this picture that God gives us is that elevations begin with separation. Okay. Maybe it just means you, Rob. Elevation begins with separation because everybody is not going to be elevated at the same time or at the same pace as you. So sometimes separation is going to happen. You can't keep going back and say, man, why they, I don't know they path. Because we'll get that way. We get sympathetic and say, man, what the rest of the street folk at? What the rest of Queensbury and Stony Hill and Lakeside and blah, blah, blah. What at? Well, y'all for lose down. We say, where are they right now? What they at? Don't worry about it. The separation. Because you've been elevated. Everybody don't have your elevation spot. So even though he was put in a pit, he was not abandoned. Look what happened. You ever not see this? Because God is still with him, he sent some Israelites, some people we don't get along with. Let me get this right now. Some folk you don't get along with will be good to take you as a slave to them, to save you. Sometimes God uses your enemy to help you elevate out of your pit. I'm just having a good time this morning. I'm just having a little good time this morning because we get mad at God that our enemy saved us. Why she had to come do it? Of all the folk, Sister Robinson, of all the folk, it had to be her to save me. God, you got jokes this morning. But there's no water, there's no food. Survival in that pit is unheard of. But then God sends a person that dislikes you to pull you up out of your pit. Separated, but never abandoned. With you, even in your darkest moment. But watch this though. This is what you gotta be careful with. Like I just said, that we gotta trust God in his sovereignty, even when we're being rejected. Do we trust God even when we don't see it? And I'm going to use this word trust a lot, but here is really just relying on God's sovereignty. If God told you this is going to happen, why would we question it as soon as something we don't like or is inconvenient to us? We start criticizing God and say, this is not what you said, man. You told me I'd be up here. God, you told me here. You know, we had that conversation in your head with God while you're driving your car. This ain't what I signed up for. See, we too often looking there and thinking that's salvation. No, salvation is happening here in God's sovereignty. Because we got to go through some stuff. So the third thing, we got to trust in God's sovereignty. God knows. He got the power. And he's right there with you. We the one get shaken. God didn't wake up and say, "Ooh, I got food." And I messed that up. No, he's working it out. Even when we don't see it, even when we don't feel it, even when we don't, God, you're sovereign. You know what that means? I got to rest in the faith. I got to rest in the hope. I can't run away from it. I can't get it. I have to just, and that was easy to take that breath. That ain't always easy when you're going through. It's easy right now because when you're going through, it's like, but we gotta know who's breathing for us, and that's the peace. I can tell you because like I'm an accountant by trade. Any accountants in the house? I got four. There's four of us in here, and our thing is, it gotta add up. It just gotta. I don't know what makes us think that way. It just gotta add up, and we drive our other people crazy because it just gotta add up. If it don't add up, it don't make no sense. We can't carry that number. You know, we do percentages. Says, well, it's only a 3. No, we can't. In our mind, we say that out loud, but in our mind, what is that? What is that? We wrote it out, but I want to know what is that. But God says, I make the numbers work, regardless of what your math says. And that's why we got to know that God's sovereignty, even when we feel rejected. God, how am I going to lead the people? They just put me, they just sold me. The same folks you said they're going to look up, they sold me for 20 pieces of silver. For a couple nickels. But watch this. When we look at what God is doing in his sovereignty and how the separation is meant for us to elevate, he does not leave us wondering what is going on in our life. I'm going to back up for a second because I wanted to get to God's sovereignty so bad that I missed the point that irritates us the most. Now, let me back up to who is doing this to him. His brothers are doing this to him.
All right.
We are sometimes betrayed by the closest people to us, which really puts a dimmer on our dream. Because it's nothing like the people close to you to pour all kinds of water on your dream. How you gonna do that? You ain't got no degree. You ain't got no money in the account. How you gonna dream big and you ain't got a pot? Y'all know what your mama used to say. I ain't gonna finish that for y'all. You don't have. It's the people close to you. Watch this. It may not be your wife or your children or your significant other, your boo or booette. It could be Jimmy there, Johnny there. Oh man, you just like us, man. You can't, man. Now how you gonna be somebody, Rob? You just like me. You ain't got nothing. Your mama ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing. How you gonna dream bigger than us? You for the same project. How you gonna be bigger? You went to the same school. You got the same C I got. How you gonna be? Come on now, man. Come on. Let's go drink, man. Come on, man. Let's go over here, man. You can't. Man, come on. Get real. Let's go to the club. Let's go hang out, man. I know you. Let that dream go, man. That's what people close to us will do. And it's disheartening because they speak in our lives. Here your big older brothers talking to you. One of my older cousins said something, and he made me laugh. He said, man, when you was taking those classes, I kind of knew something was going to happen good to you. But at the time I took the class, he was being a bully. I ain't going to tell you who that was, but 30 years later, I knew! I'm going to stop picking on people from Shreveport. But they speak into your life. And if you let them dictate the experience of your life, you're going to be betrayed by people close to you. Whether they're close at work, close whatever, close. folk at work, I used to always tell, I told Amber and I told Quinn, when people start talking negative at work, don't get into that. Because you're finding that those same folks speak negative in everybody's life and they don't ever have nothing. And they get mad when folk elevate. They think they better than you. No, boy, I'm not better than you. You got, no. I was raised on food stamps. I'm not better than you. Oh, y'all got embarrassed with that. Government cheese. Best grilled cheese sandwich in America. Slice it up and melt it. You couldn't just eat it by it. You had to melt. No, sorry, I flashback. You just couldn't just bite it. You got to melt it down in some government butter. No, but they will try to pull you down because they're close to you. And because they're close to you, they will betray you because they don't believe in your dream because God didn't show them your dream. He showed you the dream and wants you to be obedient, hope man. And risk being separated from them who are close. Because they will betray you. But know that God's sovereignty continues to elevate you. So don't get disappointed that you elevated and they not elevated, because maybe you elevated to someday bring them up. Well, that's a sermon for another. That's a sermon down the line, 4, 5, or 6 away from that. But the idea is that they will discourage you. As I was going to tell y'all last week, it says, get around people who will encourage you. That's what I'm going to ask you guys. Meet people in the church that will encourage you, because a whole lot, I told you before, you might get one encouragement, but 4 folk will discourage you. So you got to continue to increase those who will encourage you. You know, say, baby, you'll be all right, baby. And you wonder why they don't know nothing. They don't know what I'm going through. They've never been through it. And they try to encourage you that, look here, don't get crossways with those folks, because they get you messed up. Yeah. Baby, you'll be all right. You think to myself, but I don't see it in you. But they're telling you because I missed my dream, don't miss your dream. Yeah. I'm pushing you to make sure you don't miss the opportunity. That's what encouragement is. Encouragement is that when I miss the mark, I don't get mad and get, well, I hope everybody else fails. No. Here's the answer to the question. Let me encourage you along the way. But I heard something this morning. Sometimes you got to encourage your own self. But how does that happen? By words that people encourage you with. He said that. He said I could be all right. So therefore, let me be all right. Well, they said I could do this. Well, if they can see it, let me encourage myself to be all right. And that's what I'm imagining Joseph is in this situation. Is that, man, they put me in the pit, psych, and pull you out of the pit. They gonna go on somewhere? Psych? No, you going to them. Shackled up, you going down that way. I can imagine that Joseph was like, what in the wild, wild world of sports is going on here? God, you said I'll be elevated, but God, why? When elevation feels like rejection, now you really separated, but not abandoned. Because you could have been stuck in the pit. Now you can live this way, but not like you were living before. See, we criticize. We got to look and say, well, God, yeah, you did fix it. Now, I'm not fixed like I wanted to be fixed, but, man, I'm not like I used to be. But watch this, though. And I'm going to send you guys home on this one. This is the one we live this a lot. We have this argument a lot with our gadgets. When we think that, why are we going this way? This don't look like the way I usually go. Why the road changed? When I was on a smooth road, we really have to understand what God is doing. We got to trust God's map when the road changes. We think the road should be smooth. Where we grew up at, our main street, Olive Street, was smooth. But if you turn off on any one of those roads that go other ways, if you turned off on Merritt Street, you bumpy and sticky, and it's like, why the road changed? I was going smooth, but then the road changed. If we want to argue what we're going the wrong way, sometimes God sends you on a bumpy road because the shortcut does not show you what the original route will show you. Sometimes you miss out on the beauty of the journey by taking a shortcut. Sometimes you miss out on what God wants to show you with the mountains and the valleys and the riverfronts and the waterfalls because you went the shortcut way. If you go the right way, you can see the beauty and the majesty of who God is. But because you want to do a shortcut, you miss out on some lessons learned that now you elevate, you don't know how to handle because you skipped what would have taught you how to handle your situation. We got to trust God, know what he's doing. And his map is ever open to us. And yeah, sometimes the road will change. Sometimes you're on dirt roads. But I took a dirt road back here in Ross City. It was the best thing I could do because I saw stuff I never would have saw before. I was like, man, these are nice houses back here. These folks got these houses hid back here on a dirt road. These are beautiful. Accidentally went the wrong way. Man, George, you see these, man, these folk back here hiding all this good stuff back here. I learned some stuff. That's what God tells us. You so worried about how to get there quick. He's trying to show you how to learn how, when you get there, how to stay there. Oh. We got to trust God's map. See, I like this. I made this note here. I'm going to read this note. I don't have my glasses on, but keep trusting God's map even when the road changes because the shortcut skips lessons that elevate you even higher. Watch this. Sometimes a long journey exposes our weaknesses to allow God to strengthen us so that when we get to that point, we're not knocked down when we get there. Sometimes we hurry to get to a spot and we're not ready for it. Man, I'm gonna tell y'all something. This one even my thought God just put in my head just now. I was so ready to be a CFO. Then I said, man, I want to speed this thing up. I'm going to go to Amarillo. I don't need to stay at Dallas. And my boss was getting ready to leave to go somewhere else, and say, no, I'm too late. I'm going to Amarillo. God was giving me all these little signs. No, I'm going to Amarillo because I'm going to be a CFO right now. I got there, and I ran into some ignorant folk that I just was not ready to be CFO. I knew the numbers. Some folk were crazy. They were crazy. Nice as you want to be. Nice people will give you whatever, but they were crazy. They had a chief of logistics running budget. The chief accountant left 2 days I got there, so no chief accountant. The payroll was ran by HR, not by fiscal, so it was all jacked. What in the world did I get myself into? Rushing to be CFO. I was there for a year and a half. Said, God, whatever you send me, I'll go. I don't care where we go, just let us go. Went to Temple. Then finally got to Dallas. And I patiently waited for God. Put in for the CFO job there. Came out of me and this other person. and they gave it to the other person, who I was probably a little bit more qualified. Didn't get mad, didn't cuss, didn't fuss, didn't do anything. And my now boss was like, man, how do you, he's a Christian. He says, man, how do you not get? I said, because it's in God's hand. I'm not even looking. I've been to Amarillo already, so I already know what that looks like. I've been to Amarillo. I know what that looks like, so I'm good. And so then the associate director says, I want you to come to the executive office and be my EA. And God took me on a journey. I learned all the people in the hospital. I learned how to maneuver in a space I never knew before. I ain't mean to turn it into a testimony. This is what God put in my head at the end of this thing, so y'all just have to bear. And I learned all of this stuff and just met with people. The dealer says, well, you my voice. He's the associate director. She says, you my voice in the meetings. So you go there, and whatever you say, you just make sure they do this. Okay, I'll do that. EA for 2 years, doing that. CFO job, watch this. This is the kicker. This is the kicker. The lady they hired couldn't do the job. So Ms. Fields says, you need to go sit with her at least twice a week. We go into the big meeting with everybody and ask the question. She says, Alton, what do you think? I said, don't this be Fred Sanford? I said, I think you should do that. I think so too. They did it. Don't this be all our does? Met with her one time for gave us some ideas. She says, well, this is what we're going to do, Why are we doing that? Because Alton said we should do this. So she stayed for about a year, and then she moved on. Job comes up again. I put in for it. I'm not going to fight nobody. I'm not going to do whatever. I'm going to hedge my bet. I put in for Arkansas. Arkansas fell in love with me. Arkansas like, look here. Come to Little Rock. We got a home up here. We got a house for you to live in. Little Rock was laying down a carpet. I said, look at God. I've learned some stuff. I've learned to look at God. Look at God. They said, man, we're going to fire you up here. You bring your wife, your kids, come up here for the weekend. They offered me a job on Thursday. I said, let me think about it. No, y'all, look here. We're going to get travel people, you, your wife, your daughters. Y'all come up here on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We got the hotel. You just come here. I said, look at this. And so I told him, that's Thursday. My boss is going to go on vacation on Friday afternoon. He walks to my office and says, I know you're going to Arkansas, but the CFO job is yours if you want it. And he walked out. I said, well, I thought y'all was going to evaluate and look at all the. He says, no, we're not going to do that. I don't care what the other assistant directors say. You got the job. So now you got a choice to make. Do you want to go to Arkansas, or you want to stay in your home here? Look at God. That's the job I'm leaving anyway. But God had to take you in the path. And you had to be patient with the path. Because if I had got upset and started cussing folk out because I gave it to that other lady, I would never got a chance to elevate myself in the executive office, learning stuff that I have never known before. Now that I'm a CFO, I understand the crazy doctors. I understand the nice nurses. I understand how it works at Dallas. So I became a CFO. God had elevated me and then taught me, here the foolish people are. You stand your ground with who God is, and you're able to do great things. See, that I wasn't going to use it, but God says that's what it is about. But watch this. Even in elevation, there is risk. There's late night. There's all the stuff that, because, I want to be a CFO, but even being a CFO at Dallas, which I dreamed about, never thought I would be that. Man, that dream sometimes was a nightmare. You can have this job. You can, look here, you can take this job in the door. But each time, God never abandoned. His sovereignty continued to work. Now, I'm going to go with this one. Even when they came for my job, the deacons, I think it was Rob and Hicks and Benjamin, I told them in the office, I said, I've never felt that way before. That I was being persecuted in my dream job. Not just persecuted, they coming for you. God put a doctor, Dr. LePage, on the investigative board who I had worked with and researched for years. He put two other people on the board that I had developed a relationship with for. The AIB went absolutely nowhere. They said, Alton is the guy. He's dot. They had to drop all charges. And watch this. When they dropped it, the director says, I know you want to go somewhere else. Just come to the executive office and be the chief of the business office. Never had to put in for it. They just did it. Because God's sovereignty will never leave you abandoned. And again, this turned into, this is just God saying that if we walk through these things, I need to hear this for myself. I'm not just saying, because the next phase of this journey is very scary. How are you going to retire? You've been working all your life. What you going to do now? You woke up at 5 o'clock or 5:30 every day for the last 33 years. What you going to do now? That's scary, y'all. That's scary. God, you sure this is what you want me to do? I don't know what to do with myself. God, I'm questioning your sovereignty. Now, I just gave you my testimony. How are you going to have the audacity on June the 7th, 2025, still questioning my sovereignty? Y'all say, what are we going to do? I don't know. Bitch, you had to ask me this question right here, Sister Hicks. What our budget going to look like? I almost told my boss, psych, I'm not retired. But you got to trust his sovereignty. Trust his map, even when the road changes. And guess what? In Dallas, the road changes a whole lot. Some roads are straight and narrow. Some roads are wide and bumpy. But we still trust the map. We still trust who is directing us. How many times you argue with your GPS? And you thinking that you know better. And every time you think you know better, you run into a problem. So now you rest most of the time in your GPS. You still have doubts in your head. I don't even know why he took me. What? And you get to your spot, and you realize, oh man, 635 was backed up for 2 hours. I almost got off the road. When we get off the road with God, he'll still get us there. But because we chose our direction and not what he had for us, we missed out on the journey of joy that God supplies in the midst of our elevation. So these are the 5 things that we learned just from going from his dad's instruction to go meet his brothers to find ourselves shackled on our way to Egypt. Not realizing Egypt, our enemies, Egypt, the folk who don't like us, is our footstool to our ultimate elevation. The very people who you don't like are the very people who will push you up. It's amazing when you have a redneck racist back you. They don't like any other black person. I'm just going to be real with y'all. They don't like any other black person. And other black folk are wondering why they like you. So you got to battle the racists and the black folk because they trying to figure out, did you switch? That's why? Did you code switch? Did you? No, I'm just being me, man. I don't know. She don't like no other black folks. She from Mississippi. She don't like nobody darker than her, and she ain't dark. God will use stuff other people don't understand that confuses them to elevate you. Because God is not like us. He stands alone. He's all powerful. He's all knowing. He's everywhere at the same time. So he's able to do abundantly above what we can even think or imagine. So even when your elevation feels like rejection, God is still working. May God bless you and keep you is our prayer.